Why war in Ukraine, which has been going on since last more than 1 year, is not ending? Thousands of people have been killed. Russian soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers have been killed. Billions of dollars of damage has been caused to the infrastructure. But the war in Ukraine, which began when Russia attacked Ukraine, Kiev, on 24th of February 2022, is still going on. Now there are three things. The first is that United States has announced to provide $2 billion of weapons to Ukraine. So far, the US has provided $40 billion of weapons to Ukraine. It's a big amount. Likewise, other NATO member countries have also provided military and economic assistance to Ukraine, because Ukraine is their red line. Ukraine is the red line as far as NATO is concerned, as far as Russia is concerned. Now, so this is one thing, that the supply of weapons to Ukraine by the West has augmented as far as armed conflict is concerned. Then there is another dimension, that Iran is providing drones to Russia via the Caspian Sea. So drones have been provided to Russia, which Russia is using against Ukraine. The second thing is that the African peace plan. Some African countries, under the leadership of South African president, they have come up with a peace plan. And the South African president recently met with the Chinese president in order to convince China, because China has close relations with Russia, that something should be done for peace in Ukraine. Because if Ukraine continues to be at war, then it will destabilize not only Europe but the whole world. And we have already seen that war in Ukraine has led to this crisis in supply chain of food and fuel. So China had also provided a peace plan to end war in Ukraine, which Russia to some extent gave an affirmation, but was rejected by NATO. So the African peace plan. Then certainly we have also seen that there are other players, also those who are very much concerned about war in Ukraine. So the lack of proper mediation, conciliation, arbitration, dialogue, negotiations, diplomacy, that has led to a situation in which Russian-Ukrainian war is continuing. The third thing is that humanitarian crisis as a result of war in Ukraine, millions of people have suffered in the last 1 year, more than a year. And the sufferings, the West has alleged that the Russian President Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. And the International Criminal Court has taken note of that and has basically trying to have conduct a trial of the Russian President Vladimir Putin. So therefore, if Putin is convicted by the International Criminal Court, it will be a big blow to Russia. So therefore, one has to understand that the war in Ukraine is a major test case as far as the international order is concerned, international system is concerned. Look at G7, look at NATO, look at Russia and China, these two giants. And then of course, since it's a war without winners, as far as Ukraine is concerned, it will continue for another year, for 2 years. So after Second World War, war in Ukraine is another example. that how weapons are used, how millions of people have been uprooted, how thousands have been killed. So far, the war in Ukraine has not escalated to other parts of Europe. But recently, the Russian President Vladimir Putin had a meeting with the President of Belarus. Belarus is a close ally of Russia. And it was decided that Russia will deploy tactical nuclear weapons, Belarus, with a range of 500 to 1000 kilometers. So if such weapons are deployed, then the whole of Eastern Europe, including parts of Germany, may be within the range of Russian tactical nuclear weapons. That's very dangerous. And it has already been indicated that if something goes wrong, then the war in Ukraine will not be a conventional war. It will also be a nuclear war. So therefore, it is high time that Russia, Ukraine, NATO, China, and other countries, they work seriously. They make an extra effort. They should go an extra mile in order to end war in Ukraine as soon as possible. Thank you very much.